India, and they wanted to make vehicles suited to Indian conditions. So our people got opportunity for designing, and likewise now there are everybody considers India as a big market, and since we were sourcing things from the neighboring countries, and now since our Prime Minister talks about vocal for local, I think this is the time when we should stand up to the test and grab the opportunities with both our hands. Yesterday, late night, I had an opportunity of talking to people who are associated with Amazon and Microsoft. They were based in Seattle. They said now they are also going to work from home, at least for the present. They're up to December, I think they're going to work from home, and they have found now that working from home yields better results for them. So they said, why not we source things from India? Since India, that's what I put it up. Since India has got best brains, and which sometimes are left behind, whereas only a select few get opportunity to reach out to US. So they said, yes, we can look at it, that opportunity, and our entrepreneurs can make a bid for whatever that is available with them. I mean, this is just for a beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if I've taken your
Thank
time.
you very much, sir. It is very much interesting, and for the audience also, it will be a key asset for them to as a takeaway, that how the things are happening in inter-country environment and all that. So thank you very much for sharing your valuable experience for the fortnight. And I think for 3-4 more minutes and we'll start the program.
This was fresh in my mind. Just last night it happened. So
True.
Yeah.
True.
हेलो हाँ हो ना मैंने वीडियो बंद करके रखा था मैं पूजा भी कर रहा था देखा तुम लोग लेट हो रहे हो तो
Hello, Mr. Prajyot. How are you? I think I need to unmute.
Yes. Hi, Mangrisa. Hi, Amit. How are you?
Good. How about you, sir?
Great to see all of you here.
Yeah, once again, but on a new digital mode.
I was just patiently listening to Mangrisa, and I think he rightly said so. Being digital is a great opportunity for all of us to be on time.
Yes. I also welcome Professor Mike Henchy who is joining us from right now from United States, which is almost midnight there. So I welcome you, and then Professor Milan Chuba from Serbia, Professor Lance Fung from Australia, which is again in very early morning there. Maybe it's around 4 or 5 in the morning, and then we have also with us Professor Simon Fong from Macau, but also currently residing in Australia. So there are various international speakers as well with us. I welcome them all. And to have a formal beginning for this conference to all the participants, I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to one and all who have joined this fifth edition of International Conference on ICT for Sustainable Development. It used to be held in Goa, but this time, this year, due to new modes or due to, you can say, the ongoing pandemic, which is very hardly affected almost across the world in various ways, and have affected and taken lives of more than approximately 600,000 people, and more than 15 million people has been affected worldwide throughout the uh, throughout the globe. And we are in a new normal times where this virus has become a part of us and affecting us in almost every possible way. In a mode of this global health crisis unlike any in this century, one that is spreading human suffering, infecting the global economy, and upending people's life. But we hope that COVID-19 will soon become a thing of the past, and we will all be back on our very normal lives as we did in the previous times. Now, as the world has moved from digital to physical to digital modes on various meetings and various digital platforms, and so we are. And I hope that these new times will prove to be more worthy and opportunistic to everyone in the whole community, and specifically people who are related to ICT and research forums and can contribute in many ways to this. I believe that everyone, every organization, every individual in the world is doing their own part in making this happening more fruitful, more successful. We at Global Knowledge Research Foundation pursue a wide range of activities in different sectors of industry, government, and academia at various organizational and intergovernmental levels. Also, we are involved with projects that allow us to involve and indulge different stakeholders to meet and discuss the upcoming avenues and strengthen our workforce. We are involved with activities in Canada, United States, Europe, UK, Egypt, Thailand, and few more. We are always open to collaborations at various platforms, and we also see association across the world to involve people and grow globally. We at Global Knowledge Research Foundation are regularly expanding our initiatives, which we have started 5 years back. And this is the 5th year with this conference we are completing for Global Knowledge Research Foundation. And I put kudos to all the team associated with Global Knowledge Research Foundation in the front as well as in the back. It is proud for me to announce and share that we have involved with us more than 25,000 active researchers in last 5 years at various conferences and various forums from more than approximately 1,000 institutions and organizations worldwide. This is really a huge number and a very proud moment for we as a Global Knowledge Research Foundation. Further, moving on to particularly this conference, this year we have received more than 1,000 odd research papers from more than 20 countries across the world. And believe me, it was a very hard job for us to identify the papers which have been selected for final coming up in the proceedings of ICT4SD. In total, out of 1,000, we have selected approximately 350 papers, and we have raised the acceptance, but we had a loophole that we were not able to accommodate more than 160 papers in the 2 volumes of this conference. So I regret for all those people who have not been able to be a part of this ICT4SD, but don't think that your research was not worthy or you have not contributed good towards society. It's only that we also have a limit, and we believe that in total approximately more than 4,000 to 5,000 researchers have been benefited by this conference in last 4 and this currently 5th version of the conference. Apart from this, we also used to do awards with this conference, like last year we did, and so we have also have a great association with many of the organizations. You can say we have awarded through this conference approximately almost 100 organizations in last 4 years. Unfortunately, this year we are not able to make it, and those organizations included startups, IT organizations from Goa specifically, because we used to do this event in Goa for last 3-4 years, starting in 2015 with in Ahmedabad. And I request Mr. Mihir to kindly show up few of the group photos of the past editions so that we can all have a glimpse of what we did in last 4 years. And I am also proud and happy to share once again that in the year 2019, this conference was inaugurated by Honorable um, Chief Minister of Goa, Shri Pramod Sawantji, and he had assured that he will be supporting this conference. But these are more critical times and more challenging times, so he is not able to make it for this time, because the whole ministry has been associated and doing good, very good and effective work to fight COVID-19 in Goa. And you can see every day the Chief Minister of Goa is having its own various forums and press meetings, and he is coming live to make aware citizens of Goa that what all things are happening, and we are just proud to share that. These are some of the few of the glimpses. This is the last edition clips. I think all the people are here again once again. This is the year for 2016. We had awards. Mr. Nitin Kunyolkar from Goa also was present at one time in 2016. This version of ICT4SD at Goa, and these all used to be held at in Hotel Vivanta by Taj, Goa. But this time we are really missing that presence, and this is the 2015 version of this ICT4SD conference, which was held in Ahmedabad. So a huge backup, a huge history of this conference for last 5 years, and we are happy to share this history among all our stakeholders who have joined us from different parts of the world. My next role and my next part is to welcome all the people who have been associated with ICT4SD conference, specifically Mr. Raikar, Mangrush Pai Raikar, who is the chairperson of SHM Goa Council, as well as who is the national chairman of SMEs in SHM. We welcome you, sir, for this special gathering. And then we have Mr. Pradyut Mainkar, who is representing GCCI, Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I welcome you, sir. He has also been key associate of this conference right from 2016. He is joining us for this inaugural session. And we look forward to see you in many more years in the near times. And then we have Dr. Durgesh Mishra, who is the conference chair, and we welcome you, sir. Shortly, we will all listen from all these speakers. Then, as an inaugural guest and speaker, we have with us the president of International Federation for Information Processing, formed by UNESCO, and Professor Mike Hinchy, who is basically from Ireland but currently in United States, who is speaking from the very odd zone right now, because there it's almost midnight. So we welcome you once again, sir. And we have with us one of our technical program chairs, Professor Shyam Akashe, for this vote of appreciation part in this inaugural session. We welcome you, sir. Unfortunately, we would have been able to have the Honorable Minister of IT for Goa, but unfortunately, due to press meetings and all, I am afraid that she would be joining. Although she have said that she will definitely try to be a part. So let's hope that in next 20-25 minutes, when we are on to her session, she would be live with us. And moving on, and thanking all the authors who have contributed, all the review committee members, because for 1000 papers review in a research forum is a really difficult task. Although the change in scenario of this digital modes have increased number of reviews on time and everything, but still it's very challenging, because to read a 8 pages or 10 pages paper and to review it, and that too in 1000 numbers from across a team of approximately 250 reviewers, it is difficult, I believe. So I thank all those reviewers. I thank all the participants who have contributed. I apologize that due to this current scenario, we are not able to make this conference a physical conference at Goa, but I believe, and my truly spirit believe, that the conferences are more importantly better in physical modes. And we also believe and hope that this conference will again be in a physical mode in the year 2021. Thank you very much, and we welcome you all once again for this very fruitful session. And with these words, I invite Dr. Durgesh Kumar Mishra, who is the conference chair for ICT4SD 2020, as well as Professor and Director, Microsoft Innovation Center at SAIT Indore. Over to you, sir. Dr.
Thank you.
Durgesh Mishra.
Yes, thank you, Amit. Thank you, Amit, for the inviting me for this. Now, today we are here for the ICT for Sustainable Development Conference. This is the 5th international conference on ICT for Sustainable Development. And first of all, I welcome to all dignitaries present in the virtual conference in this time. This is our 5th conference. Now, I welcome to all experts from the various country, from the different part of the country. And I also welcome to our chief guest, today's chief guest, Riker Saab, to present for the witness of this conference. I also welcome to all researchers, those who are participating in this conference in these pandemic situations. So I welcome you all, sir, and I thanks to the Global Knowledge Research Foundations for organizing this conference in this situation. And this is not a one-day job. This is the I think they are doing work hard from last 6 to 12 months. Okay, and then the situation is that Dr. Amit is already told that only 35% acceptance of the paper is there, means too hard review process is there. Every paper is reviewed by the, I think so, minimum of 3 reviewers. That is a very, very tough job. So this, I basically mentioned that this is done by this is the great efforts taken by Mr. Amit, Mr. Mihir, and his team, Global Knowledge Research Foundation team. In the last 5 years, you reach a particular benchmark state, and you have connected around 25 active researchers. That's a good job. Now, this is I will talk about something, and they have done very good collaborations with the different part of the world. Second thing, I want to say something about why we are gathered here today, why researchers are gathered here today. This is nothing but we are doing something research. And we want to showcase our research in this forum. And that is a very important forum where we can showcase our research. We can get the review from the experts. A lot of experts are there here, and a lot of colleagues are there, those who are working in the same fields. So we can get the review and we can enhance your work. The research, my dear researchers, this research is not only re and search. I will tell you my definitions. What research is having 4 Re's are there. You cannot understand the work done by an expert in last 10 or last 5 years or last 20 years, not in a one read. You have to read the paper again and again. That is a very important thing here, is that we have to check the plagiarism part. We cannot accept the paper who having the very small plagiarisms, right? So that first step is what you have to read the paper carefully. That is not only possible in one read. You can understand everything, and you have to read again and again. N number of times you have to read. Then every read you can see that the different type of understanding you are getting. So this is what, after this, the rereading is required. And when you read it, in every read, start your writing work. Start in your own words what you understand in a one paragraph or in a one page or something else. You can see definitely after one read, after second read, when again if you want to write something, you will get something different than the previous one. So if you are reading n number of times the same papers, so you will get at the final level a document that will be required now to write your paper, write your thesis, and write your research work. And because this is the written by you only, so I think so plagiarism not possible, because every read you have write something, every read. So this should be in the practice. Make even copy, make even register for that, and start writing. Don't read, don't only read on the these ICT devices. You have to do practice in the writing. That is very important, very, very important. So this document will becomes very important documents for writing your thesis and writing your papers and all these things. This is the first thing. After reading and writing, you know, this third part of the research is thinking. When you start writing, that is a very important thing. If you remember that your father or grandfather or something, the old persons always say that writing is a very important. Likh ke yaad karo, likh ke yaad karo. That is very important. Why written is important? When you start the writing, automatically thinking will comes in the mind. Okay, you will think something new. You will think something new. Rethinking is there. Every read, every write. When you write something, when you write one letters, automatically you are writing a 2 or 3 pages to your friends. Why? As soon as you start the writing, thinking will start. Thinking will start. Thinking will start. Now, it may be possible during writing, you will get a new idea to do the research. You will get a new idea of your problems. You will get the new idea, new solution of your work. That is very important. Then rethinking is required. Every time when you are going to read, when you're going to write, then you have to think it, why you are writing this, and why this problem, why this solution is given by this particular author, and what are the threats are there. So during writing, during thinking, after that, there is a most important, and that is discussions. Now today, my dear friends, we are gathered here to discuss something about our work. And this is a good forum, and I thanks to Mr. Amit to provide this type of forum to the researchers, and you are connected number of researchers to provide their views in the front of experts. So last step is very important, that is a discussion, and you have to not only you have to discuss in this forum. You can discuss with your colleagues, you can discuss with your parents, you can discuss your brothers, sisters, show your problems. Because research is not a very big problem. Research is a problem like a homework problem. When you are doing some work in your home to find out the solutions, the research is the same, but the domains are different. In the house, if there is some problems, you know everything in the, you know the past, you know the present and all these things. In the research also, you should know the past, what the work done in the past. That is very important, so that the reading is required, so that the writing is required, and after that you can discuss it. So we have to discuss with your parents, your colleagues. Even there is very important, if faculty members are connected here, the students are connected here, you have to discuss with your student in the class. You are having a different mindset of the research, then you have to discuss in the class for this. You can discuss your work, or you can motivate them to generate some new idea, to generate some solution of this problem, because students are free to think about that. Maybe possible you are not free, you are having a most of the administrative work in your office, most of the your work in your house, you are so busy, so that we can discuss, we can make a group, we can discuss with the students, so that maybe possible a student will give you the proper solution or some kicks on that. I will show you my experience when I was teaching in one of the university, and I was teaching there is the data mining, so that I submitted my problems with the front of students, the secure multi-party computation in 2007. I did my PhD in 2008. I submitted my one problem in the front of students, and one of the student has given a solution. Sir, can we do this? And that will be beneficial for teacher as well as the beneficial for the students. Now we are going to create the thinking capability, something mindset. Research, you are developing the mindset of the students if you are going to discuss in your class, if you are going to discuss in your parents group. So my dear faculty members and researchers, this is a very important thing. This is the these are the steps, 4 steps. You have to read, reread, you have to write, rewrite, you have to rethink, you have to rediscuss. If you will follow all these steps, definitely you will be you will design a good research paper, you can design a good research projects and all these things. This is my the submissions. Then I again thanks to the all experts, organizers and the participants, and I hope that the all participants will get something, will enjoy in this virtual conference in 2 days. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Durgesh. And moving on to, without wasting much time, we have with us Mr. Prajot Mankar, who is the chairman of IT Committee of Goa currently. He is also the founder of Android Media and is synonymous with Android in Gujarat. Prajot was also the only Indian to speak at the Android Developer Days conference in Turkey, which had an audience of over 4,000 Android developers. He has been a consultant for mobile lab startups and himself an Android developer, over 8 years of experience in Android and more than 10 years in IT. He has been advisor for various mobile app building strategies and initiatives around India and specifically in Goa. And he is experimental with his approach, hardworking, passionate professional. His research key areas include Android consultancy, Android programming, mobile startups, mobile app development. We are really proud to have you with us, Mr. Prajot, and over to you for your address. Mr. Prajot Mankar.
Sure. Thanks, Amit, and hello to Mr. Durgesh and of course Mangarish sir. We go long back, so it's great to be speaking in front of all of you. Well, I'll take some cue point from Durgesh ji, what he mentioned. I completely agree to the fact that plagiarism has gone to a different level altogether, and that brings me to one of the finest examples that Indians have produced. Um, uh, it happened that a lot of time people know about C.V. Raman to be the architect about in terms of science. But besides the activity of finding the blue water conditions, he is also known for one of the finest works called as harmonic overtones. And I like to share that incidence here because this is exactly what on the cards what Professor Durgesh was talking about. Someone who is very, very great at science had this research about harmonic overtones. And I go back to quoting these examples, which very few Indians know about. It's the instrument called as mridanga and tabla. It's one of the exceptions, and we Indians should be proud about that. It produces harmonic overtones, and most of the other musical instruments are inharmonic in the nature. So he had this research much before of the blue ray, blue color orientation that he produced somewhere in 1921. So that tells you how fluidic research was. And I completely agree with Professor Durgesh when he mentioned about plagiarism. A lot of time, in terms of when we talk about information technology, also right credits to the right work somewhere gets lost. And this is one of the reasons why most of the research gets empaneled into a framework where credit system in India is so weak that we need to admire the work and give due credits. And on that note, I think I like to highlight a couple of incidences that really has inspired a lot of Indians. We talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, we talk about Make in India concept, which has been going since a lot of time. Let's look at this pandemic as an opportunist and figure out what are key opportunities available. I spoke at a conference, which was a co-working conference last year. It was called as CEO Asia, and I highlighted one of the most important things. It's not about work from home today. It's about work anywhere. It's IT anywhere. You take your computer, you sit out anywhere, you can produce innovations. And that backed with a great technology helps you. I mean, we talk about Steve Jobs for an emblem of science. A lot of his design was inspired by Floyd's design, where you could see the framework of window and he could see through and experience the kind of innovation a design can build. Simplicity in design got an innovation into place. I see two major areas today, especially this pandemic has impacted global. One of the impact is, of course, we all are online today and interacting and sharing our knowledge. E-commerce has been one of the space I feel has really taken a boom in terms of reaching out to consumer. Today, you sit at home and you have right from food deliveries, right from grocery and essentials. We have entire kit coming at our home, touchless delivery. It's got nations across the world to adhere to something which probably world was not sophisticated to. India, for that matter, has been one of the forefront runners, especially with e-commerce growth. Talk about Amazon, talk about Flipkart. One of the factors that has really gone, and you see how innovation has built into this. There was a research that said last week a lot of people today are using pay later option, and that is more about we have two-factor authentication, and today people are using this option, and you see how the trend has moved into e-commerce. A lot of them have started using and building e-commerce. I see a lot of startups booming in the space of e-commerce as far as logistics are concerned, as far as deliveries are concerned. They are looking from a contact delivery to contactless delivery. They are moving from payment system to e-payment system, and you see this hybrid option and across all the genre of people, may it be of any age, may it be any gender, and you see that is happening. I see, especially as we speak about Goa has seen a surge in e-commerce space, and I'm happy to say that more than 40 or 45% of people today are using e-commerce space. They never talked about Swiggy, no one talked about Zomato, no one talked about the food delivery systems. Today, the model has gone from A level, which was only from food delivery, to a logistically different delivery in terms of groceries, maybe any other essentials. So it's a probability. A lot of times startups talk to me in terms of, hey, this is pandemic, we're suffering with liquidity. I see, look at the opportunity. There is a lot of money in the market still. There is a lot of money. Every startup needs to know how to get that money from the market. I mean, healthcare, no one talked about healthcare as that broader space as far as today, right? So many healthcare startups have evolved. I talk about a lot of startups today, which have gone from B2B to B2C network as well. But there is this essential ingredient that has come into place, which I think plays important role in this digital ecosystem. It's not just B2C and B2B. It's B2I to C and B2I to B. And what that I means is influencers. In digital world, we need to look at those key players who will build your brand and market it. And that is the reason all of these days I've been just researching a lot. And I found that more than customers, you need to really look at those brand advocates. You don't need customers just to pay. You need those brand advocates that needs to talk about your brand, and they become your salesmen. And I think this is so essential across this globe, that you don't need customers to just pay money for, but you need those people who retain, because this is an issue that will last, hopefully, and God forbid, not for long, but it looks like an opportunity for a lot of startup, whether it is ICT, whether it is HCI, whether it is a pure e-commerce, m-commerce, and I see that happening across the globe. And I see a lot of impact in logistics as well. A lot of delivery services are talking about contactless delivery, and that is a great space to be in. And as an IT professional, I see entrepreneurs need to be in the space of innovation and technology. But more than that, I think look at solving a problem. A lot of startups look at problem first, great, but look at solution first as well. Problem and solution go hand in hand, but look at a broader prospect in it. I see a lot of startups, particularly if I have to give an example, a lot of them are talking about face shields, but they look in such a cocoon that they don't think that, okay, this can be looked beyond the borders as well. I see today the world has come together in this epitome of pandemic, that we need to look at this as a plain map. We are all together. We see so many people here which are from different zones, and they would agree to the fact that the fact we are here is this connected framework. We all together for a cause. We are here for a great knowledge sharing and of course innovation to build. But I think all of that is well said. But let's look at it as a growth of innovation and technology. And I think there is still a great space for innovation to pop out. at every space, whether it is healthcare, whether it is mobile commerce, whether it is e-commerce, whether it is social dimension, cloud computing, massive. This is one of the examples where we all connected seamlessly across all the zones. But I see huge potential across all the domains. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, researchers, as they are part of this conversation, huge bandwidth still available. Look at building a solution, create an impact that I plays important role. Write blogs, create a space where people can get back to you, research more. And I think research more comes with a trust and honesty, that you don't probably look at just ripping off content, but doing your own innovation. Innovation is here to last, and right innovation will always get the blossoms. So with that, I think my suggestions or my 2 cents would be, look at market as a global approach for innovation. Let the innovation spread out. This is one of the mediums where we all can connect. And I think there is a lot of innovation and technology. Let the innovation be driven by technology in the most soulful manner, and right audience would certainly then attach to the glory that you are trying to build. So with that, thanks Amit, thanks to the team for inviting me. It was lovely talking to all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prajot, and it was indeed a pleasure to hear from you. And really, innovation is really important, and this is an ongoing process which will change from time to time, and every time and every day of or every part of life will be needing a new innovation to make our lives more comfortable. Thank you very much. And moving on to the next address, we have with us Mr. Mangresh Rai Paiker, and we are really proud to have him. He is currently the chairperson of SHM Goa Council, and first of all, we thanks SHM Goa Council through Mr. Vipul Gajingwar, who is taking care as a director for Western region, who has provided us with all the support from SHM he can do, and as a chairperson to Mangresh Rai Paiker. And we look forward to see SHM in all the events whenever we have it in Goa through SHM Goa's Council. Mr. Raiker is a prominent figure in Goa, a prominent businessman who has, in addition to his long list of credentials, the honor of being the erstwhile president of Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry, director of Goa Handicrafts, Rural and Small Scale Industries Development Corporation. He is he's at present chairman and managing director of Brown Packaging Systems Private Limited, and also the director of SR Consultancy Services. He is currently also the chairman of SHM, national chairman of SHM MSME Council. We are really happy to have you with us, sir. And once again, I request you for your formal address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Amit ji. It's a real pleasure to welcome one and all to this virtual conference, which is officially held in Goa. And with my colleague Prajot, I think both Goans can, make this Goa conference a memorable one for all of you who are participating in this virtual meet. Friends, we are meeting at a time when an invisible and invincible virus is attacking the world and has created this pandemic. But still, we are able to move on with that, our zeal and enthusiasm, and for which I should thank Amit ji for taking this forward. On behalf of Goa, in fact, I would welcome one and all, especially Professor Durgesh. Prajot is my colleague. In fact, Mike from Ireland, welcome, sir. Then we have Agashe, Professor Sham Agashe. Then we have faculties, Aninda Bose, Simon Fong, Lance, then Jagdish Chand, Bansal, Milan Tuba, and all those participants and who will be presenting their papers subsequently. Friends, it's really a pleasure to welcome you all for this meet which is happening here. And as you all know, we are constantly trying to overcome the challenges the research community is facing at different levels in a zeal towards consistently contributing and enhancing the digital experience for our research activities. Global Knowledge Research Foundation is at it and has been working consistently to take this at the next level. They are fully committed for this purpose and have worked tirelessly. And as Amit ji has said that, more than 1,000 papers had come. Friends, I would like to make a mention that although very few, only 160 could make it in 2 volumes, there might be some substance in the balance and the rest of it. So never give up. Try to work on it. Try to add on to it. Try to find the nuance which will elevate it to the next level. And I'm sure you will be success in coming times. So this is not the end of the road, but this is only the beginning, and you are yet to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm sure you're going to make it come true. Last year's conference, I'm sure, as Amit ji said, was inaugurated by our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Pramod Sawant ji. He has sent his good wishes, and he said that, he would have liked to make it, but, unfortunately, because of this pandemic, he is busy at work, and I'm sure we will all excuse him for, his tireless efforts, and also wish him all the best in taking care of the people of the state. Friends, the purpose of this ICT is to provide strategic direction and guidance for sustainable national development through systematic application of ICTs in the country. In fact, it can help in many ways. In fact, ICT can improve lives in many ways, such as through education, skill development, new service creations, innovations, automation. In fact, it can, there are 17 different goals, as we all know, elevating poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, sanitation, and so on and so forth. But more important is innovation, and innovation is the key for each and everything. And friends, as my colleague Prajot mentioned, that there are many instances which are, lagging behind, and we need to work on it. As he mentioned, this situation, pandemic situation, has brought out many opportunities, especially for e-commerce, especially e-payments. And while all this is happening, there is another thing which is raising its head, and that's an ugly head of hacking. And people need to work on it, and that ethical hackers have a great role to play in coming times. I'm sure Dr. Mike would give his better version when he talks. Basically, there is a need of building additional firewalls. There is a need for attacking the present firewall so that you make it more foolproof. There is a need for making things foolproof, and I'm sure the ethical hackers have a great opportunity in coming times. Just yesterday, when I was talking to the IT specialist experts around the country and asking them what are the opportunities which we can have in our country, because today, working from home has become a reality. In fact, most of the companies, some of them spelled out for me, saying that, working from home has actually yielded better results. And if this be so, they would like, this to continue, making things available at the workplace of because one of them said, they are even willing to give them, whatever that is required, right from the hardware, not only the hardware, but, as simple as ergonomic chairs. To that extent, they were willing to substantiate, and come up with better innovative products in time. So there is an opportunity which our people need to look at. There is an opportunity also at the grassroots, where we can see what are the things which are really going to be useful for the society at large. Another thing which brings to my mind when we talk about it, especially when Prajot talked about our Indian background, you know, we have for the health, there is a big documentation which is there lying to be explored, and that is Charaka, especially in the health domain. In fact, this needs to be studied very, very deeply and made available to the rest of the world. There is a lot we Indians can give to the rest of the world, and there are people who are coming from Germany, who are coming from UK, from US, and trying to study the importance of it. And we need to also take a cue and form teams so that, you know, the better products can come out and it can be helpful to the world at large. And I'm sure we can prove to be the giver to the world, not only the takers. Now, another thing, the geopolitical situation, the ecosystems are totally changing, and we need to, you know, grasp the situation and be at the helm to understand what is the need, present need of the world, and accordingly we need to plan ourselves. We need to put our foot in the right direction, and we need to think by putting the thinking cap. And before I end, I would like to make a mention of my usual thing. That is, when we talk about the formula of M is equal to, E is equal to MC square. Everybody knows about this formula, but let's put it the way we want. M is the, you know, today we need a better manpower. And what is E is equal to, you know, excellence. We need to have excellence in each and every field. So E is equal to MC square, M is equal to manpower, and C square will be the manpower with character and commitment. So if we have these two, you know, the manpower with character commitment, I think the excellence will be achieved. We need to promote, we need to give a helping hand, we need to give mentorship to the nation. And those who have come out with those 160 papers, I'm sure they can be taken to the next level. We can work upon it. And I wish Global Foundation, and especially Mr. Amit and his colleagues, all the very best for undertaking this event. I know they have gone really miles to make it happen. Really, my hats off to them. My congratulations also due to them. And I'm sure this will be a big, attempt at, achieving the sustainable development that we are looking for. Thank you very much for your opportunity given to me to speak. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riker, and it was really a pleasure to hear from you your thoughts about the innovations and your thoughts about how to take this economy on different health initiatives. And then you told about various formulas like E equal to MC square and all. We are really appreciable to you for your kindest words and your address. Thank you very much, sir. And then moving on to our next inaugural speaker, we have with us Professor Mike Henchy, who is joining us right now from United States, where I'm again third time I'm telling, because joining us at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's really, really difficult. So I welcome Professor Mike Henchy. He is a professor of software engineering at University of Limerick, Ireland. Prior to joining LERO as a professor, Professor Henchy was the director of NASA Software Engineering Laboratory, NASA. He continues to serve as a NASA expert. In 2009, he was awarded NASA's Kelly Award as Innovator of the Year. Henchy holds a BSc in Computer Science from University of Limerick, MSc in Computation from University of Oxford, and PhD in Computer Science from University of Cambridge. He is a chartered engineer, a chartered engineering professional, chartered mathematician, chartered information technology professor, a fellow of IET, a fellow of British Computer Society, a fellow of Irish Computer Society. He is also the editor-in-chief of Innovations in Systems and Software Engineering, a NASA journal, and a NASA Journal of Brazilian Computer Society. to his other roles, he is currently the president of Information Society for International Federation for Information Processing, IFIP, which is formed by UNESCO long back in 1960, and this year it will be IFIP will be celebrating its 60th anniversary. We hoped to celebrate it in Paris this year at the United Nations headquarters, but unfortunately everyone has moved digital, and so we are. So Professor Mike Hinchy is also the past chairman of IEEE UK and Ireland section. He is currently the president of Irish Computer Society as well. So on his all the roles, I welcome you to this international conference on ICT for sustainable development for the second consecutive year. Last year we had met in Goa at the same time. It was raining all around and we had a wonderful time at Vivanta by Taj, but unfortunately this year we can't. But still, I welcome you for your address. Professor Hinchy. Mike, your voice is not coming. I think there is some issue with the voice. You are already unmuted. No mic. Maybe you can just switch on to the computer mode. Maybe it works without headphones. Yes. Now it's working, Mike. But it's slightly inaudible. It was working, but right now it's again an issue. So you can just ping it up, ping that cable or something to strengthen.
Enable the audio only.
It's slightly. Mike, it's not audible. What you can, I think, Mihir sir, you can just connect with Mike on a separate chat, and we can come back with him maybe 5 minutes. Till that time, we can have Professor Akash if he is here. Professor Sham Akashe, I think he has not joined, and I have a message from the office of OSD of the IT minister that she would not be able to make it for this program because of the urgent meeting with the CM and the press. Everything is, you can understand the current crisis and all that. So they all are busy in their own work. So it is difficult for them to be a part of such different initiatives, knowledge initiatives at this current point of time. But we hope that we will have few more people from across the world, from the Goa and from the ministerial sector, and specifically Honorable Chief Minister of Goa in the year 2021. I think, Mike, have you sorted it out with the? Not yet. Okay, so we can just wait for your address for next 5 minutes, and I just invite Mr. Anando Bose if he is there, and I am making him unmute. Mr. Anando Bose, are you there?
I'm here. I can hear.
Yes.
Hear me?
So I welcome Mr. Anando Bose who is one of our great colleagues. You can say not colleagues, but a very good well-wisher, and we are working with him specifically with Springer for last 5 years, right from beginning of this conference, and we have published all 4 versions with Springer in approximately 8 to 9 volumes, and this year again we are publishing 2 more volumes with this conference through Springer. Although this year we need to drop a lot of papers, more than I think 150 papers have been dropped, but I again say to all the researchers that those papers were really not bad. They were really good research, but it was unfortunate that we were not able to accommodate those papers for this year's conference. Mr. Bose is presently working as a senior publishing editor with Springer Nature. He's a part of global acquisition team at Springer and responsible for acquisition of scientific content across the globe. The disciplines he is responsible for: chemistry, material sciences, earth sciences, and computational intelligence. He has more than 24 years of industrial experience in marketing and different fields of publishing. Mr. Bose has completed Masters in Organic Chemistry from Delhi University and Masters in Marketing Research from Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, Pune. Mr. Bose has delivered more than 60 invited talks on scientific writing and publishing and ethics in reputed universities, international conferences, author workshops. He has published books for secondary level of chemistry and is a life member of American Chemical Society of United States of America, and these days a very demanding name in terms of research and research communities and researchers. So we welcome you, sir, for your address, and over to you. Although you are slightly backtracked in an early time before your schedule comes up, but still I think you will be able to make it up with a very good presentation. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Amit. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Everybody is joining us from different parts of the world. This is the beauty of going online, It's fortunate to see so many known faces, over here. I can see Prajot talking, I can see Riker sir, and again meeting him, but it is really unfortunate to say that things are happening in Goa and we are sitting at home. It's like Goa is something which cannot be enjoyed by sitting at home. We have to be in Goa to enjoy Goa. And I feel I always say this, that we have to be physical. Mood has to come back. We just cannot continue with this. But it's a fortunate thing that these technology is available, and especially the conference is on ICT, and this information and communication technology is the backbone of what exactly we are doing. And it is a fortunate part that we are able to connect to each other. We are still in the middle of this whole pandemic. The world is facing great difficulties, and I can fully understand that government officials are extremely busy with their work. And I fully remember last year when we were there, Chief Minister himself actually came to this function, and we had a fantastic discussion with him, and he was so very open to new things. But this time, it is being unfortunate that we have to do it like this. But definitely, I see that things will be on a better side, and he is fighting with his team right now, doing all necessary things. So I will not take much time. And although Amit said I am little preponed, but it's not preponed. The program is going little late, so I am on my time. It was allocated to me at 10:20. So I will just share my screen, and I will have a small presentation, which I always do here. And just a sec, I will just do that. Yeah. So the presentation which I'm going to give you, it's a small one, very quick one, not more than 8 to 10 minutes. Basically, it's talking about knowledge unlimited. I always like the the setup and the format of this particular ICT4SD, because Amit always involved many startups in this particular event, and it was always a good opportunity to hear all these people who are coming as running those startups. And when I first time actually visited Chamber of Commerce Goa, and I was enlightened, and I was basically very happy to see that so many startups are working over there.
Oh,
And then we got a lot of
can you hear me?
information.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Hinchi, we can hear you now.
Good.
Okay, you have to wait for a while till I finish, and then we can say good night to you. So it's like, so I will just talk about little about this Knowledge Unlimited, a little about Springer. Springer is like, you all know Springer very well now, and Springer is one of the oldest publisher in academic book publishing. We started in 1842. The photograph you can see over here is of Julius Springer. He started this company at a very young age, and it was not a company, it was a small bookshop to start with. And in those days, you know, you will find people were more into self-publication of their work rather than giving it to publishers. So Julius was talking to all these people, all Nobel laureates who were visiting as buyers, you know, purchasing books in his shop, and started talking to him about how he can publish their work. So it started on a very small note, but we have traveled long, and we are already 178 years now. Then after the First World War, we opened up, we just ventured outside Berlin and came to Vienna, a new office over there. At that time, Europe was very different. And then we have, after the Second World War, the biggest office which we have in Heidelberg was opened. And that is the office, the editorial office, which we visit every year. Interestingly, in 2015, there is a big change happened in Springer. The Springer was renamed as Springer Nature. Macmillan Science and Education came into being one of the biggest partners for us, and the company acquired, or they had went with a joint venture rather. And now we have 10,000 plus colleagues and from 50 different countries. And Nature Publishing Group is a part of Springer now. So Springer has more content, more people, and more responsibilities, to be very honest. See, today I'm going to talk about something called advancing discovery. And advancing discovery is something how we are helping the research community to advance this discovery, you know. And Springer Nature believes in this advancing discovery very much. And how this whole thing works, I will quickly tell you about this, how we are doing this. This is the plain wheel of advancing discovery, which you can see, and you can see there are 4 big pillars over there which said gather, submit, accept, and disseminate, you know. And this whole thing is broadly divided into, again, 4 different areas, like develop and knowledge, qualify and enhance, produce and distribute, share and amplify. If we look at the first aspect of it, that is develop and knowledge, it says we help researchers uncover new ideas and findings. Now, how we are giving them new ideas, it is more of the content which is getting available to them. We are helping them conducting research. There are many different tools which are really helping them. There are tools like Recommended, there are tools like Shared It. These are the tools which help them to get the content quickly, easily. Then there are different tools which help them to write the manuscript. So we help them, the first pillar, which is like, you know, gathering all these things and helping them to conduct the research and develop their knowledge. Second aspect is, which is qualify and enhance. Now, qualify and enhance is basically we make sure all research we publish is significant, robust, and stands to the objective scrutiny. Like whatever we are getting as a submission needs to be peer reviewed very well. Now, all journals, all books are peer reviewed in Springer, irrespective of that is an open access, non-open access, paid model, unpaid model, because many people have this in their mind because of some our government initiatives. They have taken some UGC norms that paid journals are not good journals, but I beg to differ over here. Paid journals, which are open access journals, coming from good publishers, are good journals. So it is very important to understand these differences. So qualify and enhance is like, you know, we give you many different tools for editing your work, for preparing your work. We have something called Overlife, which is, they are also helping you with many different tools for working with you. The third part, which is there, is produce and distribute. The third part aspect of the advancing discovery, where, you know, your work is now prepared, it's accepted, it's peer reviewed, it's done for the distribution. So it is getting produced and distributed. So again, we have different channels which are available, different technologies which are there, which really helps you to work on this. So we ensure necessary rights and permissions should be in place. Research is presented in the best way, in the best format, with the new technologies, which will help you to reach your real audience or the target, audience for whom you are basically writing, and you are, when your work is reaching those target audience properly, then only your work gets cited. Finally, the last pillar of this, which is the disseminate. Now work is done, work is formatted, work is produced. Now finally we have to disseminate it. Dissemination is very, very important, how the readers are getting access to it. So there are ways to do it. There's a very fantastic tool called Share It. Now Share It is a tool through which you can actually help and share your work, the whole work. It's not that the abstract, because in digital world we always have this problem that only abstract is visible and not the whole paper. But there are ways, there are tools through which we can actually go out and we can make it possible. So we make sure that your work which is available there, your book or your journal articles, can be shared properly and shared fully to the audience or the readers. I will tell you this whole summation, it's a big, small story sort of thing, which is like how we do this. We handle more than 1 million submissions a year, and we work with a network of 90,000 editors, 700,000 reviewers to publish 300,000 articles and 13,000 books a year. So we publish 300,000 articles and 13,000 books. Interestingly, if you see, I'm talking about 700,000 reviewers. Now, when we talk about 700,000 reviewers, this is an interesting industry where you will find, if it is 700,000 reviewers, these are the same people who are the authors and who are again readers. So it's 700,000 authors, 700,000 readers, and 700,000 reviewers. It's all same people. You are yourself being a part of this community. You are among this 1 million people who are submitting your work. You can see there are 1,000 conference papers have been submitted for this particular work. So all these 1,000 people are among these 1 million submissions. Last year, our platform had more than 1 billion downloads. This is a huge, huge number. And if you look at the effort and the effectiveness through which our teams are working behind the curtain, it's like tremendous amount of work, because it's like 2,000 downloads every minute of every day. Research published by Springer Nature was cited 8 million times in 2017. This is the most important thing for any researcher, because when you publish your work, the most importantly, you want people to download your work, read your work, and cite your work. So citation is the goal of a researcher, and we are helping the research community to get them cited so that your work reaches everyone. I said that Springer Nature is the new company which started in 2015, and Nature Publishing Group is part of Springer right now. Nature is the flagship journal, and it is one of the most cited journal of the world. So we are also, happy to have Nature as a part of the portfolio. We have almost many Nature, journals are being part of the Impact Factor group. The first top 50 Impact Factor journals, which of 2019 has 26 journals from Springer. That is a big, big achievement for this year. Before I conclude, I will ask you to, because I don't have much time to talk about the tools and all which are basically helping this advancing discovery. So I just introduced advancing discovery to you with this 4 different pillars which we have. I would like you to go to this particular website, springernature.com/gp/advancing discovery page, where you will find all aspects attached to this particular program of advancing discovery, how people are doing it, how researchers are advancing their discoveries, and you will find many, many tools which are available for your pre-publishing, intra-publishing, and post-publishing work, where you can use these tools and you can also advance your discoveries. Before I just say, yes, Amit. Before I just say thank you to you all guys, I would like to tell you that work sincerely, focus on quality, and say no to academic corruption. You know, you are part of this world, academic world. There are many unethical aspects are going around you. Stay away from them and stay happy. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Amit, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. And this is a brief one. I always love to go for physical interactive talks where I can talk much more about Springer, much more about research. But this is a short talk on this podium, and I'm happy that I got this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. And it was really a pleasure to hear you and your thoughts about Springer Nature. And just to make aware the audience and to say specifically about the conference papers, we have almost more than 25% of the papers out of 160 as international papers. Means these papers are papers from out of India who will present their research work in this 2 days conference. So it is a huge numbers in terms. We organize a conference in India, and this is really a great effort, and we will keep doing great efforts so that ICT4SD 2021 will have more than 50% international papers. Thank you very much, Mr. Bose. And now I request Professor Mike Henchy to take this up for a short presentation for 7 minutes. Professor Mike Henchy.
I love that.
Finally, you are live. Finally.
You can hear me okay. I don't know what was wrong. I basically just restarted everything and it worked. So who knows? Anyway, apologies, and I will keep it short. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Good middle of the night to people in Serbia, Milan. And good evening, good night to those of you in Australia. I'd just like to make a very short presentation. I guess in many ways I'm speaking to the converted because all of us are working in the field of ICT, and congratulations to those of you who were successful in having your papers accepted for this conference and particularly for the proceedings. But one good thing that has come out of this pandemic is, and there have been a few good things to come out of the pandemic, is that the public at large begin to appreciate ICT and to see just how much we contribute to society. Every form of transportation, of course, we're not able to travel very much right now, but we're relying on scooters and electric cars and bikes and all sorts of things to bring us our food, to bring us our shopping, to help us get medications and so on. I have a colleague who is absolutely obsessed with getting rid of traffic lights. And of course, that will happen eventually. We don't need fully self-driving cars, but we need a certain amount of automation in our cars to make that happen. And I myself have been working on this project. This was originally called Constellation, then later Orion, then Ares, then Constellation again. And now you know it as Artemis. And it is the heavy lift to bring man back to the moon and ultimately onto Mars. And this, in its original incarnation, was to be the largest software project in history. It was to be $8 billion US only for the software. And of course, this topic is hot again, as now we have a trip back to the International Space Station quite recently, and we have also an unmanned mission to Mars from the UAE. But we were used to seeing ICT being used in all sorts of manufacturing, in all sorts of power supply, in all sorts of telecommunications. Most of you probably have one of these devices, whether it's Android-based or iOS-based. You use it for all sorts of apps. You use it for shopping. You use it to get food. You use it to find out where you are, to find your way to places. And I discovered recently at a conference that Amit was organizing that you can actually use these devices to make voice calls, believe it or not. Crazy. And of course, we're using ICT for all sorts of transactions, be that financials and financial services, shopping, and so on. But as we already heard from Dr. Riker, this leaves us open to all sorts of hacking, to all sorts of bad things, bad issues. I don't know about you, but I got this offer, this tweet from Barack Obama during the week, saying that if I sent him $1,000 in Bitcoin, he'd send me back $2,000. I wonder how many people actually fell for that. Probably quite a lot of people fell for it, but it was genuinely sent from Barack Obama's Twitter account. It was also sent from Joe Biden's, Elon Musk's, Hillary Clinton's, and many other people. Of course, we realize this is a fake, and many people didn't realize it was a fake. However, Luckily, most of the people who were fooled by this would not know enough about Bitcoin to be able to send them any money. So probably they were safe in this case, but certainly it's an issue. So I like to say that we're in a situation of cyber physical social systems. We envisage a world eventually where everything will be interconnected. Cars will talk to each other and to intelligent highways. Medical records will be available everywhere. We'll all know where we are and we'll all be interconnected to each other. We're already getting there. It's cyber because we're using software to do this. It's physical because we're connecting to physical devices, sensors, and actuators. But it's social because we're giving out so much of our information about ourselves to various people. I find it very useful to be able to find my car in a parking lot by using Google Maps. Do I really want Google to know everywhere that I've been? That's a different question. I find it useful when Amazon occasionally suggests things that I might like to buy. Do I want them to know everything that I've bought and everything I've bought for other people? I don't think so. So we're giving up a lot of our freedom, a lot of our information, perhaps sometimes unnecessarily. Amit mentioned at the beginning that IFIP was founded by UNESCO back in 1960, so we're part of the United Nations, and many of you will be familiar with the 17 goals of the United Nations for sustainable development. In fact, they were mentioned already in the opening. So these are everything from no poverty, zero hunger, to good health, quality education, gender equality, and so on and so forth. All of these are wonderful things. There are 17 goals that the United Nations has set for itself by the end of 2030. So it's only a little over 10 years away. It also has 169 benchmarks to see how we're actually reaching to these goals. So all of these goals are laudable in themselves. Certain ones are obviously ICT based, like sustainable cities and communities. Climate action is also because we're looking at using electric and sensible power, batteries and rechargeable batteries and so on. We might not realize how no poverty and zero hunger factors in. Well, no poverty factors in all sorts of ways, not least by means of information systems. Zero hunger factors in all sorts of ways by being able to automate our production processes, by being able to automate our distribution processes and make those far more effective and far more useful. And we will do that. So the United Nations has set up something they call SDG Pulse. And SDG Pulse is used to factor in those issues that are the most important right now. So this comes out, this has only been the second time, but it comes out in July. And it highlights the fact that we are just 3,800 and a few days away from the end of 2030. And it highlights those issues that are important. Strangely enough, this one was not one of the 7 factors that they listed this time, good health and well-being, and that is so topical right now because of the pandemic. So it focuses on health monitoring via emerging technologies, remote contact diagnosis and treatment, which has of course been very important recently, where people cannot get to hospitals, where doctors are able to diagnose and treat people at a distance, very important. Population and disease monitoring, which in itself involves preparing for disease outbreaks, identifying patients with symptoms, following treatment protocols, and helping to analyze trends and make projections about them. Doesn't this sound like something very, very important at the moment, something that we've been doing and advocating and using these little devices to do it? Absolutely, we have been. So these tracking devices, as they're being called, using our phones and other devices to identify who is possibly contaminated, who has possibly contaminated who, is seen as a major approach to solving this coronavirus problem. There's an article you can see here from BBC News, which wonders, why does the UK not have such a tracker? Why is it not able to do this? In fact, one of the Irish newspapers said it quite simply. It said, there is only one problem with the UK's tracking device. It doesn't work. So the Irish one has been very, very successful. And the reason it's been successful is that we have a very young population, just like India. And 23%, so almost 1 in 4 people downloaded the app in the first 24 hours. The first 24 hours. So within 3 days, almost the entire country had the app, and the app could be used to track who were contagious and who were contaminating people. France did something similar, but they only got 1.5 million people to download it out of a population of about 67 million. And 500,000 of those deleted it, within a couple of days. And in fact, the app, downloaded by 1.5 million users, only managed to identify 14 people who were contagious. So the Irish success has meant now that this has actually been given out as an open source. So it's been given to the Linux Foundation so that other countries can take it and use it and be protected by it. But the important thing is the predominance of the app, the fact that people downloaded it. So it's not just enough to develop the app. It's not just enough to have an app that's working and useful. We actually have to get people to download it and use it. So these are the 7 topics that are highlighted by the SDG Pulse for this July. By next July, I'm sure number 3, good health, is going to be on there and very significant. So I do recommend to you that you look for this SDG Pulse, look at the 7 topics that it has identified for this year. They will be very interesting, of course, but again, next year it'll be very different, I'm sure. And with Amit's permission, I'm going to play a very short video that tells you a little bit about what IFIP does in the context of UNESCO and the United Nations and the SDGs.
Sure.
Thank you all very much. Apologies for the sound problem, and especially to Aninda Bose, who I interrupted. Apologies for that. Good to see you've grown the hair back. And everyone, thank you again. Having a very enjoyable event. I wish you, I hope you get a lot from it, and I hope to see many of you in Goa this time next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mike. Professor Mike is the president of IFIP till December 2022. So IFIP will really definitely grow. Already 60 years have been passed. And with respect to India, if I'll tell you, India has been a constant member of International Federation for Information Processing for last 25 years, with a society member as Computer Society of India. Dr. Durgesh Mishra right now is the treasurer for Computer Society of India, who is representing CSI at this forum. So I hope that more collaborations between CSI and IFIP forums can be done, and more proactive CSI could be in terms of IFIP. So just my message to Dr. Mishra, so that we can this station more ahead with Internet as well as other forums of IFIP like TC communities and TC committees, where there are 4 or 5 TCs which are very active in India. So thank you very much, Professor Mike, and we look forward to see you sometime soon. Thank you very much. And I think we were not able to end a formal inaugural session, and we would have to take Mr. Bose at first. And so I would like to convey my thanks to all the authors, all the presenters, all the reviewers, all the speakers who have spoken in the inaugural session. There are some times who are like Mike, his late night, Professor Milan Tuba, who has joined us. He is very early in the morning from Serbia. So I thank him also, although his keynote would be last. So next, going ahead with the keynote sessions, I request all the keynote people to just summarize in from 15 minutes to 10 to 12 minutes, so that we can sum up this session on time. And to begin with, we have a great association with Professor Simon James Fong from last many years, but this is the first time we are able to get him for this keynote. He is a very renowned researcher, graduated from La Trobe University, Australia, with a first-class honors Bachelor of Engineering Computer Systems degree and a PhD degree in 1993 and 98 respectively. Simon is working as an associate professor at Department of Computer Science in University of Macau. He is the co-founder of Data Analytics and Collaborative Computing Research Group in the Faculty of Science and Technology. Prior to his academic career, Simon took up various managerial and technical posts such as system engineer, IT consultant, e-commerce director in Australia and Asia. Dr. Fong has published over 373 international conference papers and peer-reviewed journal papers, mostly in the areas of data mining, data stream mining, big data analytics, meta-heuristics, optimization algorithms, and their application. He serves on editorial boards of Journal of Network and Computer Applications of Elsewhere, IEEE, professional magazines, and various issues of SCIE index journals. We are really happy to have him, and I hand it over to Professor Fong for his address. Professor Fong, you are unmuted now. Professor Fong.
Hi, Amit. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we all can.
All right, very fine. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy to see everybody here. I'm Simon Fong from Macau, basically, but physically I'm now in Australia because February, when China had the first outbreak, I escaped to here, Australia. And now Australia is having a very big outbreak now in the pandemic, and I cannot go back because they don't want me back. But anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed the conference so far. This is a very wonderful opportunity. I would like to speak of one of my projects that I have been doing. Let me just share my screen over here. The topic of today is called the multi-level challenges of 3D structured light face recognition technologies. I have just a few slides to summarize and share with you in just 10 minutes about these particular projects. Now, just a very brief history. I grew up in Australia and I work in Singapore, and now I am in Macau. This is the University of Macau. I wish that we can work closer, and one day I could visit Goa, and friends from Goa can come to Macau as well. My research basically is into data mining and meta-heuristics optimizations. I believe many of us are also along that directions. It's very beautiful research anyway. Macau is not short of money. They have many casinos, and you know the casinos, they have a very huge income. So in the past 20 years, I have many research projects, millions of dollars and so on, but I'm not talking about the good things about a project, but here I would like to share with you the challenges that we are facing on one particular project that I'm currently having, which is this one here. Now, I believe most of you would have come across, or maybe you have been doing deep learning and face recognitions, and there's so many books and journal papers being published out. But this particular one here is a government project, and they are going to sort of migrating it from government use to individual use, such as retail, commercializations, and you know, for everyday use. And I would like to share with you some challenges, not just the technical challenges, because if you come across some journal papers about how convolutional neural network deep learnings will be applied on image recognitions, you always see this kind of pictures. All right, you know, these are sort of becoming a standard right now in terms of technologies. However, the challenging point I'm going to share with you is it comes into multiple directions. One is social aspect, the legal aspect, and the business aspect as well, which I'm going to elaborate a little more in the next 7 or 8 minutes. Now, first of all, the acceptance. So when we talk about face recognitions, if you look at the blue bar, the first deep blue bar on top there, most people would say yes, it's acceptable if it will be used for reasons such as public securities, airport screenings, for police patrols. With a majority of people, they will say yes, it's acceptable. However, when you move down, as you can see here, from the public security into building securities, to secure the buildings, and into your employers to check whether somebody on time go to their office or not. And also the last one here for public, for advertisers to see how people respond to the public displays. You can see that the acceptance level has diminished when we are sort of making these face recognition techniques common for everyday use. So as you know that in China and as well as in many other countries, there are many applications of face recognitions that could be used in retail, e-payment, especially in COVID-19 now. It is not so wise to touch the keypad for putting in the PIN number. Fingerprint recognitions also needs your thumb to be on the surface, which could potentially transmit disease. So other biometrics such as face recognition is becoming so popular in China. Now, the challenge in the project I'm handling right now is how are we going to promote a substantial approach in such a way that more and more retailers would adopt that e-payment technologies by using face recognitions. It sounds easy, but behind, you know, it is more than just about the technical difficulties, which I'm going to share with you later on. It's a lot of words anyway. I just want to draw your attention to the regulations. The last statement here. So different countries, for example, the European Union, they have very mature regulations controlling about how the biometrics are being used, and they have very heavy fine, $20 million. If any company abuse the use of data privacies for face recognitions, there will be about $20 million fine or 4% of the annual global revenue, which is serious. And Japan, they even have a law to imprison the in charge who abuse about the privacy issues in face recognitions. Now let's have a look about how secure face recognition really is. Inaugural, I think, is a company, they try to fool the systems by using a printout about our face. So basically capture someone's face. There are many faces anyway on Zoom. So if you print it out with a high resolution color printer on a A4 paper and then cut it out, surprisingly, it can fool many systems, even including Alipay and WeChat Pay in China, border checkpoints in China as well. And it is a kind of a well-known loophole in our smartphones, such as this one here, such as this phone here, that requires your face lock. So there's a number of phones, 42 out of 110 devices, that could be fooled in such a way. So what I mean is the past techniques in the past 10 or 20 years may not be sufficed enough for the highest level of security. The reason is how we measure the 2D facial features, such as the distance between the eyebrow and your nose and your mouth and so on. So typically you have just about 80 landmark attributes, and that is proven not safe enough. So researchers move on from 2D to 3D using the same techniques by measuring the 3D facial landmarks, such as this diagram being shown here is 3D anyway. So they have more than just about 80 facial features like a passport photo, but from different angles and so forth. Well, it's not secure enough, but still, it was sort of cracked just a couple of years ago. Some research team from North Carolina University in the United States, they take the photos from Facebook. I know many of us are active on Facebook, but there is a loophole. The spoofer would be able to take pictures of you that has different angles and different directions, and through some image recreation technique, they can create a hologram which is 3D, and they look just like you. And you could be able to bypass many security measures, many hardware and software and so on. So what is actually most secure right now? Well, I won't say the most secure, but the latest state of art is we are using 3D structured light. I'm not going to give a tutorial on what it is, but basically we need two devices. One is a camera, the other is a projector that projects some structured light patterns. So when the light pattern is shined on the object, on a 3D object, it shows some distortions, and we are filming that distortions as the unique feature that identify about the 3D characteristics of an object. So this is the so-called latest technique. And by changing a little bit about the frequencies of the light, which is very subtle, and a user may not be able to know about it, we can scan the full pictures in 3D of the object. So this has been applied on face as well as on any 3D objects, and it's been working very well so far. Now, however, we still have many technical challenges because just last year, there's a Vietnamese company, he only invests about $200 to make a 3D mask, because a 3D mask has the 3D surface, which can also satisfy the requirement by the 3D structured light, which I showed you earlier. So one of the most secure mechanisms on Apple iPhone X, for example, they have a Face ID features, he would be able to crack it. So in just $200, they would be able to crack one of the most sophisticated Face ID mechanisms, which is quite scary. So you can see that we have a number of challenges, and so far I have just been talking about the technical challenges. What do? We try to use hybrid approaches. We combine with retina, iris, voice, and some other stuff. However, when it comes into a commercial use, especially those for public securities, if you look at the pictures in front here, in a box A, you can get the most clear picture. So you can get a very high accuracies and effectiveness. However, for B, C, and D, they are partially covered, and the further you are, you will see that the resolutions has declined. And if we are used for a crowd of people, that is very challenging. at the moment. This is some of the applications taken from my projects. We try to apply face recognitions to detect about the passengers on a ferry, on a boat, because they don't move so much. All right, they are in a boat. Compared to people crossing the zebra crossings or crossing the road, these people are more or less static, which is easier to capture the faces. So we want to identify whether they are wearing life jackets. We will count also the traffic, how many people who are on bike, how many on foot, and we can collect these informations for business as well. So when it comes into physical securities, such as this picture shows here, we have the software to identify those people who are wearing a life jacket and those people who are not wearing a life jacket. And also we have the business intelligence module that captures about the GPS locations of the ferry and how many people would be on board in any particular time. So all these informations would be vital, would be useful for business. So I'm not going to talk about the technical architecture, but this may be the last slide here. The social challenge that we are facing right now. In different countries, the words may be very small to read, but anyway, what it shows here is if you want to take a picture of somebody in different places, you may get different responses. For example, if you go to Brazil and you take a photo without asking for permissions, you may get beaten up. I'm not sure about Goa and India. Maybe people are more friendly. But anyway, these are the social challenges we are facing right now. We are still doing the survey to get to know about how comfortable are the people to use the face recognition technologies and so forth. So this has concluded my last slide here. Presentation. Thank you very much, Amit.
Thank you very much, Professor Pong. And it was really nice to hear from you after a long time. We have been associated for this conference as an editor for long, like since 2016. Professor Fong is a constant editor of ICT4SD 2020, including ICT4SD 2020. We thank you for your support, and I hope you can raise your queries. Already Professor Fong has shared his email ID publicly for any open for collaboration. So thank you, Professor Fong, and we hope to have more mutual collaborations in future, and we look forward to see you physically maybe next year in Goa or somewhere else in India. Thank you very much. Thank you. And moving ahead, we have with us Professor Lance Fung, who is Emeritus Professor at Madras University, Australia. He was born in Hong Kong and trained and worked in Marine Radio and Electronic Officer as a Marine Radio and Electronic Officer from 1972 to 78. He's a graduate with a BSc degree in First Class Honors in Maritime Studies and a Master of Engineering degree in Systems Test Technology from University of Wales, United Kingdom. PhD degree was awarded by the University of Western Australia in 1994, and which with a topic on applications of artificial intelligence techniques to electrical power system engineering. He has held various positions as an academic program chair, associate dean of research, postgraduate research director, and director of Center of Enterprise Collaborative and Innovative Systems. Published more than 300 academic articles in journals and proceedings. His area of interests include neural networks, operational intelligence, cybernetics, electrical power systems, image processing, data mining, machine learning, knowledge management, education, technology, very bifurcated, but all connected. He has also been a dedicated volunteer to IEEE for over now 2 decades, and he is also going to be fighting for one of the elections as in IEEE as well, and we wish him all the best, and we welcome him for this conference. This is my first interaction with Professor Fung one-to-one, and I hope that with this initiative, we will have more mutual collaborations in next and coming times in the next year. And over to you, Professor Fung, for your address.
Okay, thank you and good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation. So can I share my screen now?
Yes, yes, you can.
I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so if that is the case, well, with your permission, I'm going to take away my camera and then you can concentrate on the screen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, what you see on the background is the beautiful skyline of Perth, Western Australia. It's really encouraging to see, to hear all the eminent speakers and the researchers earlier on. Although you see a very close similarity between my name and the Professor Simon Fong. He is F-O-N-G, mine is F-U-N-G, but the writing in the Chinese character is a bit different. But we do have a certain degree of a high similarity in the sense that, okay, we are both in Australia right now. He's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. Although our infection rate is not as bad as over Victoria, and I hope that, they are overcoming the challenge very quickly. And I also have a good friends over in University of Macau, Professor Philip Chan, and I believe that he was the head of school a couple of years ago. And although Troy Achong, that he was in the other university, who has retired and now back in Queensland. So the world is truly a small place now. We're able to connect to one another through the cyberspace. And then, even though we are locked down, and since the beginning of May, I have been giving out webinar, and this is my 43rd since the beginning of May. And IEEE materials, but I entirely talk about this is the public information. I'm not representing IEEE at all. So I'm going to introduce IEEE briefly. In particular, some of you are not aware, but I'm pretty sure most of you know IEEE pretty well now. But I'm going to highlight the two aspects. One is on the Humanitarian Activities Committee. Another one is SITE, in case you're not aware. I'm located in Perth, Western Australia, and we are the second oldest university, Murdoch University, in Western Australia. The oldest one is University of Western Australia. We're looking at a population of around 2.4 million for the whole state of WA and around 2 million in the metropolitan area. So we are in the beautiful southern part. If you haven't got a chance, come over to Perth. I strongly encourage you to take your opportunity. And similarly, Goa is one of my list that I would like to visit. I visit other part of India, like the Kochi, like Kolkata, like Mumbai, and all these different places. But Goa is one of the places I would like to visit. Well, my background, you can take a look from my university profile website. You just simply search for Murdoch University, my profile, and Lance Phone. So I'm not going to highlight on that part. I quickly just show you some of my background, which you have heard that being introduced. But I'd like to share some of these photos. I find it's quite fascinating thing about technology has advanced so quickly over the years. But this was my first photo, in 1974, on my first ship in a radio station on a merchant navy ship called American Maine. It's a small ship. And then the second ship is 1976. It was on a ship called Eagle Arrow. But at that time, our communication mode is entirely by Morse code. Okay, but having said that, I was the only one on board the ship. I have communication to the rest of the world. So more or less, I'm responsible for the safety. Touch wood, I never happened that I need to send out the SOS signal. But then again, taking a look at the equipment we have at that time, this is the transmitter. Sending out information with 1 kilowatt of Morse code. And then the receiving, using the valves inside. And then compare right now that we have the mobile phone, the satellite phones, and then in times to come when the Skylink project is going to be fully implemented, we are able to cover through the satellite any part of the world. And this is my other photo that I was doing my master's degree in Wales. And this was the first time I encountered working on microprocessor, the 8-bit microprocessor from Motorola. And then we have this a development kit called the Hewlett-Packard microprocessor development system. then well, it was working, well, from then on, well, looking 30 years, we have advanced so much. And I just highlight some of my involvement. And it's really interesting to see that, well, to hear the comment from the early speaker from Splinker, and also talking about plagiarism. And that is one of my role. I've been involved in the conference quality committee, in particular, the technical program committee, being served as the safeguard for the quality of the proceedings in the in IEEE. And also involved in new initiatives committee that we support a lot of projects and a lot of the leading edge technologies as well. And on the society, I was in the system and cybernetic, and I also been serving in the local section and the council, etc. And also, well, if you actually remember, I would really appreciate that if you pass me your vote and your trust. So just in case, if those of you are not fully aware of the organization IEEE, well, we are the largest technical professional organization dedicated to the technologies for the benefit of humanity. So these are these strategic plans and goals we have. As you can see, it's quite dominant that we're looking into enhancing public understanding of engineering and technology, and also providing these resources for the education services and lifelong learning, and also for the career and professional development. But what I'm going to share about the project under the HAC and site is really one of this part, the fulfilling, that how to enhance the livelihood, the well-being of the local communities, and also enabling our students and volunteers have the opportunity to put hand on and then to build the technologies to meet the needs. Actually, we have 419,000 members all over the world. We subdivided into different regions, and we are in the Asia Pacific region. And India is on one of the top 5 lists in terms of the number of members and also number of student members. So you can anticipate India is going to have a major part to play in the development of technology within IEEE and also to the community and the humanity. Organization of IEEE is pretty complex in the sense that, bear in mind that we have so many members, and then it's mainly from 6 different major, what we call major boards. The allocations of the organization of the section, all those things under the geographical and members board, and all the technical activities are under the technical societies. 39 of them subdivided into 10 divisions under the technical activities board. Excuse me. Another side, the education activities and standard associations and a USA board. And some of these are really quite important because I heard, the sharing by Professor Fong in terms of the technical, in terms of the social issues, and also the use of the technology, the ethics. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend to take a look at one of the publications from IEEE Standard Association. Is on the ethics on the autonomous and the intelligent system. Anyway, I highlight this particular committee called the Humanitarian Activities Committee under the Board of Directors. And this is the one that support the sustainable development. Mainly through these 2 arms. One is the Humanitarian Committee. So we aim to raise the awareness on how technologists, scientists, and engineers can contribute towards the community. And also facilitate different levels of education and training and provide funding of projects and events across the group, and also support site and also building the strategic partnership. So you can see that, I'm going to use one of the examples to illustrate how this project has helped some of the remote islands over in South America. SITE stands for Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology. So again, we involve with the students, with volunteers and local communities so as to implement the appropriate technology to meet the needs for the sustainable development. So SITE, maybe we support them through financial fundings up to $20,000 US. So you need to have a SITE group within the local operational unit. So we have the funding between 1,000 to 20,000, and you must have a SITE group within the local IEEE unit. The main objective is, you must meet one or more of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And again, you heard this earlier on from Professor Mike Hinchey. So the proposal must demonstrate a consultation with a clear understanding of the needs of the communities and demonstrate a needs-driven approach to strengthen the local capability and capacity. We all know that ICT won't work without electricity. So this has been one of the main areas that have been providing the support to the local community. So these are some of the projects. If you go to the site website, you can see that some of these are highlights of the past project. And you can see, I think up to 7 pages of different places. I highlight some of those are from Asia. In particular, a lot of them they're from India. As you can see, some of the topic, and empowering the human code in Pakistan, in Malaysia, India, Islamabad, etc. So similarly, you have some others, well, quite as predominant from India, Bangladesh. So same example, this one is called a smart classroom among the woods. So this is the one conducted by one of the College of Education and Technology. So using the local student branches. So they equip a rural school in a remote area in the state of Kerala with a consistent source of electricity. So as I said, ICT won't work without electricity. So you install a 2 kilowatt of off-grid solar power plant on the roof of the school, and they provide a better education facility by wiring the school building, fixing the light bulbs and the ceiling fans, etc. So another one called Intelligent Animal Attack Prevention System for Crop Protection. This is in India. So this is another interesting application of the ICT, although not so much on the communication, but it definitely, well, on the technology side, whereby you try to prevent the group, the crops are being damaged by the animals. So they make use of some kind of sensor and lasers and sounds, well, so that, well, just to scare off of the animals. So you just send them, and also you can provide the message, well, to the Connect phone to warn the farmers who can go and check the fields if necessary. So you can see ICT is being applied. Well, on one hand, it could be a very high level, just like the facial recognition you have heard earlier on, or it can be on a very low level, helping the local farmers. This is another one. The moisture, salinity, and the temperature kit to optimize the usage of water in the hilly area, again in India. So this one is more or less something like a sensor, so that you can, well, maximize the use of the water, and then you can have improve of the yield of the agricultural products. So in terms of the resources, so sites will have what they call the virtual classrooms. Well, mainly they are webinars, and you can see there's a range of topics, and it can also be in other languages as well. And you talk about biotechnology, you talk about the challenges on the stories of AI in humanitarian technologies, financial planning, project management. So all this is not just the technology itself. It does require additional skills to make the project sustainable and also have good results. And also these are some others, fundamentals of off-grid solar system, and how to work the project, and how to make the proposals, etc. So now come to the main one, the Humanitarian Activities Committee. So again, this is the one that across the whole IEEE spectrum, and mainly it aims to support many impactful humanitarian technology and sustainable development projects with local communities across the world. As such, the community not only provides funding to support the projects, and also devote resources to impact the assessment. So in terms of funding, well, is anything less than 20,000, you will not consider it, because of that could be covered by the site group. So it has to be more than 20,000. And also one of the main things they're doing right now, I was involved with the committee last year, that they're looking at how to quantify, well, in terms of the actual assessment, to see that the result and the social benefit you can be, can receive that from the projects. So I'm using this one as one of the examples. They're talking about expansion of a community intranet to share the sustainable education resources on the Galapagos Island. Well, you may not have heard about Galapagos Island, but I was told that this is where Darwin, well, had the ideas about the theory of evolution. And it is a very attractive and also famous tourist attractions place. And this one was funded in 2019 and got a funding of $60,000. And it was supported from Region 9, and that is for the South America and also Latin America, well, led by the Ecuador IEEE section. So this is give you the overview about the issues they're facing. It's one of the top ecological tourist attractions, receiving 20,000 visitors. So the goal, well, is to try to provide, but they're going to get a limitation in terms of the communication, because they rely on the satellite and it's very slow. So they want to improve, well, the education resources to help the local community. So what they propose is have some kind of actual connection through the fibers, and then we'll support a number of schools connect to the resources in the local server in the Ministry of Education. So this is the setup. And so by doing that, from the resources within the local education department, so you can support the schools locally instead of relying going up the satellites. So these are some of the involvement and also the volunteers, and also how the local classes are being benefited. So you have the stakeholders of different people, as you can see, from the volunteers, or from the ministry, from some of the foundations and universities. And this is some of the input from different sources and the financial support and the actual activities that has carried out. So the outputs, well, They have the fiber optics, the infrastructure being built in. They have social workshops and also the platform for the file sharing. So you can see that all these have achieved the objectives for sustainable development. So in terms of the resources, well, again, the HEC, they developed the education forum and also the modules. They are available through our IEEE learning networks. So these are some of the modules that have been developed. Well, introduction to sustainable development, multidisciplinary perspective in the humanitarian and sustainable development activities, community engagement, and all the technology, etc. So within the forum, it started off with some kind of Facebook group, and then gradually, well, they developed the curriculum through the network. So as you can see, well, this is the one that aims to us to achieve the sustainable development goals for UN. So I'm finishing my talk now. I know the time is catching up. So what I can say is IEEE is the world's largest technical professional organization, advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. But under the HAC and a site, well, they are working on the ground level through the collaboration and the volunteers and the local communities. And they also provide training and resources to equip the volunteers and local community groups. So thank you very much for the attention. And again, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak and also listen to the eminent speakers as well. And well, let's work together towards the sustainable development for the future. Thank you again. And
Thank you very much, Professor Lance. And it was really appreciable for at professional levels at different volunteering stages in IEEE. And I thank you for your support, and we look forward to some academic collaborations in future, definitely with you and with our research group and community. Thank you very much. And looking forward, we have our next speaker with us, Professor Jagdish Bansal, who is also a very good collaborator with us. He is an associate professor at South Asian University, New Delhi, India. This university is formed by SAARC nations in the time when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister of India. It was established that time, and we are proud that he is one of the associate professors headquarters in New Delhi. He is also a visiting faculty at Liverpool Hope University in United Kingdom. He has obtained his PhD in mathematics from IIT Roorkee. Before joining the South Asian University, he has worked as a assistant professor at IIIT TM, Gwalior, and BITS Pilani. His primary area of interest is swarm intelligence and nature-inspired optimization techniques, which is also his keynote topic for the day. And he is the series editor of the book series of algorithms for intelligent systems, AIS, as well as recently they have introduced a new Springer series on data-driven industry technology and technologies, and with one of a very good collaborator, Dr. Swagatam Das. Further to his credits, he is also the editor-in-chief of International Journal of Swarm Intelligence, published by InterScience. He is also an associate editor of IEEE Access, published by IEEE, and RI, published by Elsewhere. He is on the steering committee and general chair of the annual conference of the series SOCPROS from his own established society. He is the general secretary for that society that is called Soft Computing Research Society, SCRS. He has also received various awards and received gold medals at his UG and PG level. We are proud to have you with us, and we look forward to your address to this international conference. Over to you, Dr. Bansal.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. Thank you very much for the nice introduction and giving me the platform to interact with so many researchers in the field of ICT and the sustainable development. I think now, should I share the screen?
Yes, you can share your screen.
So here is my presentation. I hope it is visible.
Yes.
But not visible to me. Okay, now it's perfect. So, good morning, everybody from India. Morning from India. Swarm intelligence is the topic on which I'm going to speak. So swarm intelligence is a part of artificial intelligence. And let me tell you that not only due to this pandemic, but due to many other regions, we are living in these exciting times. And this is the perfect time to put the AI to solve our biggest problems, bigger than the time problems. For example, the very big problem for the current era is the food problem, agriculture development. So AI can be put to work for the solution for the food related problems, water related problems. Now AI has many branches. So there are certain branch which can impact the business, government, society a lot, particularly due to the development of robotics and in the field of drones. And this impact is on the larger trends in the global sustainability also. So today's topic will concentrate on the introduction to swarm intelligence and its some potential applications for the sustainable development. So when I say the swarm intelligence, actually it is one of the computational intelligence, and computational intelligence is one of the technique in the artificial intelligence. So I always say that there is a category of algorithms in the artificial intelligence. When the intelligence is obtained through iterative computation or through intensive computation, then we can regard this kind of intelligent techniques as the computational intelligence. And when this iterative computation is based on the population of members, iterative computation, and when this population of members interact with each other, cooperate with each other, share the knowledge with each other, then this kind of computational intelligence is known as the swarm intelligence. So when I say the swarm intelligence, actually I'm talking about a part of artificial intelligence. So when I say that the AI for sustainable development means the swarm intelligence can also serve a significant part for the sustainable development for the current requirements. Before I introduce the swarm intelligence, what is the swarm intelligence and all, let me tell you that why it is so important. The market driven by the application of artificial intelligence through the integration of biological behavior has gained the attraction in recent age. There are many artificial intelligence based algorithms which are actually inspired by the biological phenomena, by natural phenomena, and swarm intelligence is one of them. Not only the recent trend in the algorithm development, but actually the application in the industry has shown its importance. The global swarm intelligence market generated $10.5 million in 2017, and according to a report, compound annual growth rate during the period 19 to 24 will be over 28% of this market. So this is a good growth rate, compound annual growth rate of a particular technology in the market. And all this growth, rising demand of swarm intelligence based techniques is due to the drones and robotic applications. And these drones and robotic applications has taken the place in various aspects of our life, including commercial and military applications, door-to-door delivery of options, in agriculture, in water, in renewable energy systems. So everywhere we can see the applications of drones, robots, and therefore the demand of swarm intelligence based technique also is increasing. Of course, the increasing number of drones for defense and need for higher efficiency for that purpose are some of the key drivers for the growth of the global swarm intelligence market. Recently, from last 2 years, I'm working for the drones for the defense, and I feel that this is the future of the war tactics. The drones, there may not be any job for the fighter pilots after 10 years. There may not be any man-driven fighter planes. There may be only the drones. for the wars. So that's the drones are the future of the war tactics. So let me just start the definition of the swarm intelligence. So before I come to the definition of swarm intelligence, one-line definition of the computational intelligence, of which the swarm intelligence is a significant part. In the computational intelligence, we study the design of intelligent agents. And so in swarm intelligence, of course, we design the intelligent agents in this field. And the agents may be anything. Anything means my mouse, my laptop, anybody, myself, or any some living creature, maybe the agents, but not everything is the intelligent. Mobile cannot be an intelligent if it is not equipped with some intelligent algorithms. So there are certain properties of intelligence which should be equipped with that agent, and then the agent is regarded as the intelligent agent. And these properties are whatever an agent does is appropriate for its circumstances and its goals. It is flexible to changing environments. It should learn from the experience, and it should be able to distinguish if more than one choices are available, means it makes appropriate choices. So these are few properties which makes any agent an intelligent agent. Now these four properties are to be inserted to an agent, and this insertion can be done with the help of some algorithm, and that class of algorithm is the computational intelligence. So in the computational intelligence, we study, we design, we develop the algorithms which makes the agents intelligent. Now this class of algorithms is based on intensive computation, intensive iterative computation. And let me tell you that this is the general framework of all the computational intelligence based algorithms, that they take an agent, and this agent may be one single agent, maybe more than one agent, or maybe a group of agents. And how they work, the computational intelligence algorithm, they take some actions. Usually these initial actions are, in most of the algorithms, initial actions are purely random. And then when they learn from this environment, they, after learning, they compare themselves with their goals. What was my goal? What is my previous experience, and what is my prior knowledge about the target? And then they become intelligent, and then again they take a new action, and this time this may not be the purely random action. This time the second action will be based on the previous learning, based on the previous learning, but of course it may also have some randomness, but based on the previous learning. So all the computational intelligence based algorithms are actually the memory based algorithms, and that's why this iteration keeps on going, and ultimately this agent becomes intelligent. Now in swarm intelligence, this iterative computation is done with the help of taking some inspiration from the natural phenomena, where a group of swarm helps each other work, share the knowledge with each other. For example, birds fly together, fish swim together, fish is cool, honeybees are there, ants are there, monkeys are there. They live in a society, they help each other, they share the information with each other, and therefore, even being a very small creatures, they are living on the earth. They make themselves robust for the changing in the environments. So the formal definition of the swarm intelligence is the emergent collective intelligence of the group of simple agents. So whatever the intelligence we got in swarm intelligence, it's the emergent intelligence, means this intelligence is not actually the inherent intelligence. This intelligence is the emerged after interaction among the individuals of the group. And this is always among the simple agents. Simple agents suggest that all the agents should be of same capacity. One agent should not be more intelligent than others, and therefore you must have seen, if you have gone through the algorithms in the field of swarm intelligence, that they are based on the ant's behavior, either on ant's behavior, either or on the bee's behavior, or on the bird's behavior. there is no swarm intelligence based algorithm which is in the combination of ants and birds behavior, because ants and birds both have different capacities. So the one agent may not be helpful to the others if one is superior to the other, and therefore to have the swarm intelligence, all the capacity, there are of course certain characteristics of the swarm that there should be many individuals. I did some mathematical analysis on the number of individuals to have the swarm intelligence, and I found mathematically that there should be minimum, to have a good swarm intelligence behavior, there should be minimum 12 agents in the group. Only then you can expect a good swarm intelligence behavior. Of course, I told you that they are homogeneous. Self-organization means they should be self-motivated to do the work for the group. There should not be any central control, no leadership. All are equal, and everybody has the capacity to learn from the environment. So these are the necessary and sufficient condition. Being a mathematics student, I try to develop the necessary and sufficient condition always. So self-organization and division of labor are very famous conditions, necessary and sufficient condition for swarm intelligence. It means if you have a self-organization and division of labor, these two properties, then you can expect the swarm intelligence behavior from a group. And if you are looking at the swarm intelligence behavior among a group, it means they are following these two properties. So it's a necessary and sufficient condition for swarm intelligence. To have the swarm self-organization, you need to have the positive feedback, means one should respect the others. Negative feedback means one should have the stability in itself also, means should not be blindly followed, should not blindly follow others. Fluctuations means some random components should always be there. Multiple interactions means all the members should be connected with each other. Not only two members are friends, other two are friends, and they are not interacting with each other. Actually, there should be overlapping communication topology to have the swarm intelligence behavior. I worked on different kind of communication topologies to have the swarm intelligence behavior. So that's one of the challenging tasks in the development of the swarm intelligence based algorithms. So why SI? Answer is, if you have a problem, you need SI. You need swarm intelligence. There is a famous mathematician, Euler, once quoted that. Once he said that there is nothing in the world which cannot be thought of something of minimization or maximization. So actually what he wanted to say that all the problems of the world can be modeled as an optimization model. And if you have an optimization problem, the swarm intelligence can solve the problem. But of course, there is a tag with this statement that not necessarily with the 100% accuracy, with the varying level of accuracy, but swarm intelligence can tackle the problem. So if you have a continuous optimization, you have a non-differentiable problem, non-convex, highly nonlinear, have many optima, in that case, swarm intelligence is a good choice, because for those kind of problems, most of the traditional mathematical algorithms fails. Sometimes the traditional algorithms are applicable. For example, for discrete optimization problem, for example, traveling salesman problem. Traditional algorithms are applicable, but they are very time consuming. They are not giving the solution in feasible time. So to get the solution in feasible time, to get quick solutions, you may switch to the swarm intelligence also. So the research issues in swarm intelligence, the research areas where we can do the swarm intelligence research, we can introduce new swarm intelligence based algorithms, we can hybridize more than one swarm intelligence based algorithms, we can modify the existing swarm intelligence algorithms to have the to make them better, because these algorithms, all the biologically inspired algorithms or all the computational intelligence based algorithms are highly customizable, are very much possible. It's very much possible to develop or to modify those algorithms to make them better. And of course, the fourth research area is the applications. You need to find out various applications where this swarm intelligence can be applied more efficiently. So actually, thousands of the swarm intelligence based algorithms are available in the literature, and I think almost daily basis people are introducing new and new swarm intelligence based algorithms. And there is a criticism also for this, that why so many swarm intelligence based algorithms if already so many algorithms are there. So there is a theorem, no free lunch theorem, which states that there is no single algorithm which can solve all possible problems, and therefore problem based, swarm intelligence based algorithms can be developed, should be developed. Particle swarm optimization, ant colony optimization, artificial bee colony, and recently we in 2014, myself and my 3 other co-researchers, including Maurice Clark and my 2 PhD students, have developed this spider monkey optimization algorithm, which is inspired by the foraging behavior of spider monkeys. Let me tell you that around 80% market is covered by the particle swarm optimization and ant colony optimization. These are the 2 algorithms which covers around 80% market share in the field of swarm intelligence, and in 20% all other algorithms are available. This doesn't mean that all other algorithms are not efficient. Actually, these 2 algorithms are the algorithms which were introduced initially. For example, this particle swarm optimization was introduced in 1995, and this is in 1998, and this artificial bee colony algorithm was introduced in 2005, and this is in 2014. So of course it takes time to get established in any algorithm. Particle swarm optimization and ant colony optimization are doing good right now. Just I want to, since I started working in drone swarms, so let me tell you the formal definition. Actually, hundreds of the papers on are available on the drone swarm. So I thought that there should be a formal definition of the drone swarm, that what is the drone swarm. A group of drones flying together cannot be a swarm, cannot be a drone swarm. There are certain properties which should be followed to have a drone swarm. So I defined it formally like this: an interacting autonomous group of drones and assigned to perform a or some task. So this is an interacting group, autonomous group of drones, and it should do some task. It should not just to fly. The objective of drone swarm is to develop an autonomous system, a connection among them. So the topology of communication, that is one of the biggest tasks in development of the drone swarm algorithm. Let me tell you that the drone swarm algorithm are different from the original swarm intelligence based algorithms, because in drone swarm algorithm the superimposition of the individuals are not allowed, while in the original swarm intelligence based algorithms the individuals can collide with each other. So we need to customize those algorithms to be implemented for the drone swarm. I already told you that the most important challenge for drones is the topology to be used, the minimum number of drones. So I did this research and I found that 12, you need minimum 12 drones to have the swarm drone behavior. Maximum and minimum distance, this is one of the biggest challenge, because the drone swarm depends upon the GPS, and GPS accuracy is plus minus 10 meter. So if we can increase this, then there may be a communication loss, and if we decrease this, there may be a collision among the drones. So that this is a very crucial matter for the development of the swarm drones. Self-healing is another thing, that if 1 or 2 drones crashes in the ordinary swarm intelligence based algorithm, nobody kills. These are the swarm intelligence based algorithm. While in drone swarm, there may be a chance that 1 or 2 drones can fall, can crash. So how to just automatically change the topology to tackle that leak of that particular drone? So the topology should be autonomous also. Okay, so the future of drone swarm is the rising demand of swarms in autonomous vehicles, parcel delivery drones. Of course, for sustainable development, we need the drones for the inspection, for the agriculture purpose, for the delivery purpose. We need the drones, and so the global swarm intelligence market can be classified into drone swarm, robot swarm, and the human swarm. And there is an expectation that from 2018 to 2028, means in next 10 years, in around of course now it is 8 years only, the growth rate will be around 37.49%. In next 5 years it will be around 28%, and in 10 years if you see that the growth rate is expected to have around 37.49%. And let me tell you that this is really a very good progress in this. So just quickly, I tell you that there are not much players in the development of swarm intelligence-based technology. So the market is still open. Is still a lot of demand is there in the field of swarm intelligence. Particularly in India, we have very few industries, very few companies which are working for the swarm intelligence. This is a good area to for the development. That's all. APEC is a group, China, Japan, and South Korea, and they are really working hard in the field of swarm intelligence as compared to the other entire world. And this definitely is going to drive the growth of the swarm intelligence market in the region. With this, I tell you that the swarm intelligence has very much potential for the application in the sustainable growth, sustainable development in the area of water survey, agriculture, food. Um, Due to this drones and the robots, I always say that the best technology of the time is the artificial intelligence, and the best artificial intelligence is the computational intelligence. And based on my personal experience, I want to say that the best computational intelligence is the swarm intelligence. So it's a great potential subject. Thank you so much. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Professor Bansal, and it was really nice to hear from you. I was so stuck in the presentation listening you that I forgot to intimate you the time limits. So it was really a nice presentation, and I really appreciate that. I am hopeful that many participants would have loved to raise queries to you for this presentation, and they can. I'll share the mail ID, your mail ID, to all the participants so that they can have an interaction, one-to-one interaction, or they can do it in the chat box privately as well. Thank you very much for you, and we look forward to have more collaborations with you. Professor Bansal has 2 series with Springer, so all of you are welcome to submit proposals to him on his mail ID. You can just Google Professor Jagdish Bansal profile, you will be able to see it. Thank you very much. And just a small information that we were starting the parallel technical sessions from 12 o'clock. Maybe we are just slightly for 10 minutes delaying the session because we have a very good speaker with us, Professor Milan Duba, who is constantly waiting from Serbia since 5:30 in the morning. He was awake, and he was just waiting for his turn to come up to speak among the audience, and it's already 8:15 there. So without any much delays, I welcome him, and once his talk is over in next 10 minutes, you all people can join towards technical session. You already have the link. Maybe we will start technical sessions with slightly 5 to 7 minutes delay, and as soon as you finish up with this, please do join the technical sessions so that we can start it very effectively. Professor Tuba has received his master's and PhD in computer science from University of Belgrade and New York University, NYU. He was a faculty at electrical engineering at Cooper Union Graduate School of Engineering, New York, at the beginning of his career. During the time, he was the founder and director of Microprocessor Lab and VLSI Lab and led scientific projects. Since 1994, he has participated in scientific projects for the Republic of Serbia's Ministry of Science. Currently, he is the Vice Rector of Singidunum University, Serbia. His research interests include mathematical queuing theory and heuristic optimizations applied to computer networks, image processing, combinational problems. He is an author of more than 150 scientific papers and some monographs. He has attended more than 40 plenary lectures at conferences, and specifically some of them at Harvard, Cambridge, Paris, Moscow, Istanbul, India, and many more places he has visited. He is also a co-author and a member of editorial board, scientific committee members, and reviewer of several international journals and conferences. Also a member of ACM, IEEE, AMS, SIAM, and FNA. We are really happy to have you, sir. And after your long wait and your most awakening moment since morning, because you woke up at 5 in the morning, we really appreciate your gesture. And over to you, Professor Milan Tuba. He is also one of the editors for this ICT4SD 2020 conference. Over to you, sir. for your address.
Good morning to everybody. Thank you, Dr. Yoshi. As usually for the beginning, it is a great honor to be here, but also it would be a greater pleasure if we were together in Goa. Unfortunately, this year we have to do it this way. And actually, I was in India in the beginning of March after a long journey, about a month and a half to Far East. And then exactly on that day when the conference was scheduled, early afternoon, the conference was changed to online, and then late afternoon, the conference was canceled. So now we are in this unfortunate situation, but I hope everything will be back to normal very soon. We can do this conference online, and that is good, but then again, it raises many questions. What about this new world, about all automatization and so on? Especially the topic of this conference is sustainable development, and involves many things like transportation, industry, all kind of automatic systems and so on, which makes sense in many cases. But then again, we have to be very careful not maybe to go too far. Because, for example, one of the very important research topics now is autonomous vehicles. That is already being tested, and new technologies with image processing, deep learning, and all these new hot research topics are connected with that. And then, of course, driving a vehicle you can consider as unpleasant chore that you have to do. You simply have to go to work, and then you need to spend some time in your car, and it's better if everything is automated. But then again, we may forget that driving a car can be a pleasure. It is one aspect of human life, and maybe completely giving up driving a car, eventually we will all play some kind of virtual reality games at home and drive virtual cars because we like to have that experience. And many other things, you know, maybe it's good to remember the old story about a very rich man walking near the river, and he sees a poor homeless person trying to catch a fish for the supper. And he gives some advice, you know, you should be more diligent. I was also poor at some time, but you know, if you try harder and you catch 2 or 3 fishes, you can sell, and then you can make some profit, and then you can buy a few more fishing rods, and then you can buy a boat, and you can buy a large ship, and then the whole factory for processing fish and so on. And eventually you will be rich. And the homeless person asked him, and what then? Well, then you will be rich, so you can walk near the river and do some fishing. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing now. So we certainly need to put a lot of effort in this artificial intelligence, in making things more efficient and so on. But also now we are maybe at a dangerous point where we may be trying to automate too many things. So having completely online universities, online conferences, I don't believe it is a really good future. I think it's something that is necessary for now, but I don't think it's a good permanent solution. So I really hope that next year we will meet in Goa and have all our personal contacts again. So what I wanted to talk about today, obviously time is already more than half an hour late, so I will really make it very short. I will put this on the screen. Yeah, I hope you can see the title of the lecture. And it's actually a combination of the 2 talks that you already had. One from Professor Fong about image processing in general, actually deep neural networks used for image processing, and Professor Bansal's about swarm intelligence. So one of the very important research topics recently is different types of image processing using deep neural networks. Neural networks have been used for many decades, but they were not so powerful. Usually from number of inputs, we try to make some kind of relation and get desired outputs. However, for images, we may have individual pixels and inputs, and for image 1000 by 1000, which is not a huge image, we may have million different inputs. So with million different inputs, neural networks are not very efficient. It's too much computational effort. And with convolutional neural networks, which are actually preserving the spatial relations, so it's not considering image as a million individual inputs, but inputs that are spatially related. One pixel and few neighboring pixels are highly correlated and others are not so important. That reduces the effort and it becomes possible to do some computations. So with this technique, we had amazing results during last few years, and applications in medical diagnostics, in autonomous vehicles, in security systems, in agriculture, in all kind of areas that are connected with sustainable development. We had amazing results because with deep neural networks, we can do so efficient image analysis that now the problems that for decades were very hard problems, and we need a huge research effort to increase quality of the results by 1 or 2%. Now we start with excellent results. For example, for hand written digits recognition, which is a standard benchmark problem. For decades, we were increasing the recognition percentage from 80 to 85 to 90, 92, 95, 96, 97. Today, in any undergraduate class, we can start with standard tools like Keras, and our first network that can be made in 5 minutes will start with over 99%. So that is a huge improvement. And then, of course, all this area benefited from that. So the first part of my lecture was supposed to be about, just a moment, about, I don't know if you can see the...
We all are able to see it.
You can see the slide.
Yes, now it's deep learning. Now the
Okay.
slide is deep learning.
Yes. So the first part would be about what Professor Fong already said, that convolutional networks process images in a special way. Here is the example of convolutional network. There are some interesting issues about convolutional networks. Even though they are highly efficient and they can get results better than any human, they can make some strange errors, very rarely, but those errors are something that are different from those errors that human would expect. And the areas like autonomous vehicles and medical diagnostics, we really like to have control over the system. So if there is one error in 1,000, we want to make sure to understand that error and how that happened, because it's very dangerous. Unfortunately, with convolutional networks, since they are learning in a different way than humans, so they are extracting certain features, but we don't know what these features are, or it is very hard to figure out what these features are. Then those very rare errors can actually be very unpleasant in such areas. So we are now dealing with those problems. And then here is an example that, for example, with adding a very simple targeted noise, you can make a very good recognition system fail miserably and recognize, let's say, parrot as a bookcase, which is, from the human point of view, very, very strange error. But we are somehow dealing with these problems. And then the next problem is that convolutional neural networks have a number of hyperparameters. And to design a good convolutional networks, what we do right now is we use some kind of guesstimate. That is, we use experience, and then we guess what good parameters would be. Because there are a number of parameters, then they have certain ranges. Trying to find the optimal combination of parameters is actually a hard optimization problem, equivalent to traveling salesman problem. And here we have one difficult problem, that is convolutional neural network, which may require on very good hardware hours and days of training, but after that giving amazing results. But to design that network before we start, we have to solve a hard optimization problem, and that is what Professor Bansal was talking about. So I say this is pretty much the same thing about hard optimization problems and about a swarm intelligence as practically the only tool that we have for such hard optimization problems. As mentioned, there are a number of such algorithms, starting from the oldest particle swarm optimization to the new algorithms that may be more efficient in certain situations. So that is a separate area, but they converge here. And then to design a good neural network, deep neural network, we actually need to optimize those hyperparameters. And for that, we can use a swarm intelligence algorithm, which is a very new area. There are very few papers in that area. We tried few times, and in each case, it was easy to get a very good result because the area is very new. There is a very little research so far in that area. So I wanted to mention few of our papers where we applied different swarm intelligence algorithms to optimization of convolutional neural networks. And in all cases, here we have 3 papers mentioned. In all cases, I will not go into details. Usually, handwritten digit recognition is used as a benchmark problem. And in all those cases with using swarm intelligence algorithms, we were able to improve results. So here we compare the results with other approaches from the literature, and you can see the last one is swarm intelligence applied to optimization of convolutional network, and the test error is the smallest compared to all other papers from the journals. And we had similar results for other papers. So for young researchers, this is, I think, a very good area because there are many interesting topics. They are not researched too much so far. So whichever topic you select and whichever swarm intelligence algorithm you select, there are very good chances that in a reasonable time you will be able to improve results and get something new and better. So this is something that is really very promising. And the other thing that I would like to mention at the end is that, again, I hope that very soon we will be able to meet in person all together and then have a lunch and some talk in the corridors, in the breaks and so on, and exchange our experience, and that again will be a good old time. So thank you very much.
True, Professor Duba, true. We used to have this conference in Goa at Vivanta by Taj, and I still remember there was a chandelier, and everyone was so interested in having and clicking photos with that chandelier, and we really missed that in our minds. But hopefully in the year 2021, as Professor Duba also said, and many other speakers said, we will definitely meet again as a hope, and we hope that the COVID-19, which we see currently surging everywhere, will be a thing of past very soon. Professor Duba, thank you very much for your efforts and your kind support right from the beginning. 5 o'clock, you have done all the efforts to be present here in this conference, and thank you very much. And thank you all the participants and all the speakers who have been attending. I am just closing up this session now. so that we can have the parallel technical sessions which have already started in 2 formats, and the third session number 1A we will be just starting after closing this meeting. So I welcome all the participants to come up and to join us in the technical sessions. As already communicated, a link through different channels, through mails, through WhatsApp. The login and credential passwords for the technical sessions are available on the conference website. You can just log in and just try to be there and have a wonderful 2 days, and to have good takeaways from the speakers as well as from the technical presenters who are presenting your sessions. Thank you very much, one and all. And once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone present here. Professor Lance, thank you very much. Professor Bansal, thank you very much. Dr. Rathore, thank you very much. Mr. Anando Bose, thank you very much. Then Professor Mike, thank you very much. And I will open up the session for 1 more minute if you want to interact or any communicate or exchange mail IDs through chat board is open right from the beginning. But I really and personally hope that we will all again meet at Goa, because without Goa, it is very difficult to have imagine this conference at this current forum which we are happening, because that was now in spirits which we were having it for last 3 to 4 years. Thank you very much. So if you want to have any exchanges of emails or a 1 minute more, I am just opening up the session. So you can, and if you want anybody's email or anything in support, I'll be happy to. My mail ID, I'm just putting it everywhere here, so that you can write to me and I'll be happy to share you or the conference team to share anything you need from our sides. This is my mail ID. Please write to me for any details, specific details, anything you need. And please do join us for the parallel technical sessions, which were scheduled to be started from 12, but got slightly delayed due to this all process. And once again, thank you very much. And I am now closing this meeting and look forward to
I think so Amit is not able to connect with us. So once again, thank you. Thank you so much to all the participants. We look forward to meet you at the technical sessions. Thank you.